Welcome back into Exit 99 Sports. As always, I'm Caleb Deloach. He's Cody Hinkebine. And, well, Cody, we are just about out of anything basketball related to talk about here, especially in our Cape County area.
Yeah, the playoffs, fun week, district games, sectional games in our area. Exciting basketball time of the year.
Yeah, and we can get started talking about last week. We did actually have one more regular season game to finish. It was girls basketball. Jackson went to Notre Dame, making up for a sick game from a couple weeks beforehand. Jackson ended up winning that 67-39, or 36, excuse me. So Jackson won by 31 there. It was actually only a 3-point game at halftime. But yeah, the second half, Jackson just blew the doors off. Only gave up 10 points in the entire second half. And finished out the season, only one regular season loss, Cody. A pretty crazy year, honestly, for the Jackson girls. 23-1 regular season is insane.
Yeah, great year. You see all the talent that they have, and maybe they can run a playoff run.
And also in that game, Cameron Alsdorf, she led the team with 26, and early in it, I think she had, needed 5 points. She reached 1,000 career points for her. So great career for her. We can do a lot more talking about her, especially once the season's over with. It is her senior year after all. But a fantastic player, fantastic senior leader over on the girls' side. And before we get into, kind of this, our micro area of games, I want to go ahead and mention some of the, small schools. Class 1, 2, and 3, their districts were over with this past week. And so this last week, they actually got into sectionals and finished up quarterfinals. And so, now we've got teams going into couple teams from the area, smaller classes going to the Final Four. I'll take Class 1. In the sectionals, you had Risco and Richland down in the Boot Heel playing each other. Risco won that one, revenge game over Richland from last year, beat them by 15. And then Risco went out west. They played Chadwick over at, I believe it's Sparta High School is where they moved the game to. And, I'd heard some people beforehand kind of saying that this might be, honestly, the state title game. These are probably the two best teams in the state. Risco had a great year. Chadwick was the defending state champions. And then in that one, it went to overtime, and Chadwick came out to victor, knocking Risco out 64-60. And Cody, what do we have in Class 2?
Yeah, so in our area, South Iron defeated Hayti 60-57, and then Puxico defeated Valley in the sectional game 74-40. And then so Puxico moved on to the quarterfinals, and Puxico defeated South Iron 61-43. We knew Puxico may be a team that would go to state all season, and they proved why they were deserving.
Yeah, great year for Puxico. I think their first Final Four appearance since 1953, I think I saw, since the 50s. It's been a long time, but it's kind of felt like you said, this has been their year. Like this, if they were going to go, it was going to be this season. They've won every tournament they've been in. They beat a lot of good teams. So, yeah, good year for them. Knocking off South Iron, who's a traditional power, smaller schools. And then in Class 3, you had a pretty big-time game. I know Cody and I both watched Woodland playing East Prairie. It was a very fun game early on. I know East Prairie jumped out, and Woodland came storming back. It was a great first half, and then Woodland pretty much took control, wouldn't you say, in the second half of that one?
Yeah, 9-0. East Prairie takes the lead out of the gate. You're like, well, this may not go in the Cardinals' favor, but then, like you said, Woodland came storming back. Just too much press, just too quick at the guard area, and honestly, too many turnovers for East Prairie. And Woodland actually got it out to a double-digit lead most of the fourth quarter. So
Woodland moved on. They went to the quarterfinals. They played Jefferson. They hosted that game, so it's pretty cool. A team in Woodland who had never won even a district tournament, getting to host a quarterfinal game, and they took care of business at home. They beat Jefferson out of Festus, Missouri, 72-51. So big-time win. I mean, they won by 15, won by 21. So a dominant run here after narrowly escaping Scott City for the Cardinals. And like you said, it's what to expect out of Woodland. Nobody on the team is over 6'3". They've just got waves of guards. Lane Lee, Corbin Kinder's awesome, Jackson Shaw, Calvin Layton. They've all played really well. And that's what really led them through this playoff run. They've been really good. So, those are teams, Puxico, Woodland, both teams in the same conference that we'll be, keeping an eye on, rooting for as they head into the Final Four.
Yeah, you always like to see these small schools make a run. I've seen some posts on Facebook, letting out a school, moving parent-teacher conferences. Fun time of the year when you can take a pep bus out to the state championship.
Yeah, it's big time. So it's really cool. Like you said, they're going to shut down the whole town in both those places, I'm sure. So it'd be awesome for them. I guess we can jump into the classes 4, 5, 6 districts, and we'll start over on the girls' side. In Class 4, District 1, we had Saxony here from Jackson, Fruitland, and they fell to Kennett 70-38. Into their season, tough year. If you're Saxony, 3-22, just tough year. A lot of moving parts. Going to be a lot of good players that are coming back for Saxony. I expect them to be improved next season, kind of add to that win total quite a bit. But yeah, Kennett, solid team. Really one really good individual player. Tough team to guard, and Kennett got the win there. So knocking out Saxony in Class 4, District 1. We'll move over to Class 5, District 1, where, I've seen Cape actually play a few times in girls basketball, and they played some good teams, and they struggled early in the year. But as the season kind of moved on, they have impressed me. They've got good wins against teams that I thought would beat them. In like Dexter, they beat Woodland. And so it felt like they were trending in the right direction. But then I look at their district, they get the 7 seed. And, they're playing a good Festus team, and I'm just like, well, that kind of stinks. I know they're hosting, and I thought, going into it, I was like, maybe they can make a run. But, saw they get the 7 seed. I'm like, it'd be an uphill battle. But Cody, we talked about it on the car ride up to our game we did for Jackson. As a 7 seed beat Festus in the quarterfinals. I genuinely don't really remember many 7 seeds ever winning.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of 7 seeds in girls basketball upsetting the 2, but Cape Central does, and they move on. Home crowd. It was a home game for the Tigers. So
yeah, very cool. Very cool. Winning that one 68-62 over Festus. Unfortunately, they did fall to Farmington in the semis 45-38. Farmington, another very good team. I watched them play Jackson earlier in the year. They're very talented. I saw them play Notre Dame. Good squad. And Cape kept it close. They were up, I believe, 1, maybe 2 at halftime. Very close game. A pretty low-scoring game. Like I said, 45-38. Farmington just made enough plays down the stretch there. But good season for Cape, good building year. I was really impressed with how they I was really impressed with how they closed out the season. They beat some solid teams. They finished the year 12-15. I think a lot to build on there. I know they do lose a few to graduation, but they do have some solid players coming back.
Yeah, they got 3 seniors on their website. Brooklyn Moss. Who's the other one? And Keela Vinson and Nelia Furlow. So just 3 seniors that they're losing. But, yeah, they bring back a lot and a lot to build on.
Yeah, a lot to build on. A good year for them. It was a good year. I was pretty impressed. I was pretty impressed with how they closed it out. And like I said, beating a 2 seed as a 7 seed was incredible. I was very, very shocked to see that. So that wraps up their year in Class 5, District 1. And Class 6, District 1. 2 teams, actually. The 2 teams that played each other in the last regular season game. Jackson beat Notre Dame, and we knew going into it, we kind of thought that they would be seeing each other in districts. And because Jackson got the 1 seed, and then Notre Dame was on their side of the bracket as the 5 seed. And in the first round, Jackson took care of business, 74-13. A preposterous score, but something you kind of expect when Jackson's playing inferior opponents. I think Melville came in with like 4 wins on the season. Jackson absolutely destroyed them. And then a little bit more of a competitive game. Notre Dame beat Oakville in the 4-5 matchup. Liza Barnett played well, had another double-double, something she's kind of become accustomed to the back half of the year. She had 16 and 12. Skylar Kraft, Mia Panton both shot it from 3 really well. They both finished in double figures. And that did set up that semifinal game between Jackson and Notre Dame, Cody. But third time, you thought maybe Notre Dame could find something there against Jackson, but no avail there in that semifinal.
Yeah, Notre Dame just really had trouble taking care of the basketball. We say that a lot in these playoff games. You have to take care of the basketball, and I believe you have it down there. Jackson forced 25 turnovers, but was a close game throughout the first half, as you alluded to, 31-21 at halftime, but a little bit too much Indians in that one.
Yeah, similar to the last time they just played less than a week ago. It was relatively close at halftime, and then Jackson just put up an insane second half. Like you said, a lot of turnovers. Addison Henderson, freshman, played really well early in the game when Jackson was struggling. I think Notre Dame jumped out early to a good-sized lead, and Jackson actually outscored Notre Dame 19-4 in the second quarter to get that 10-point lead. So Notre Dame was up early. Henderson played really well. She had finished with 21. I think she had 13 of those in the first half, so she played really well. Cameron Alsdorf had 13. Liza Barnett finished out her career there with 11. She was one of 2 girls on Notre Dame in double figures. Mia Panton played really well, especially in that first half. She finished with 19, made some shots from the perimeter, but too much Indians. Jackson just kind of did what they do. And, they, like you said, forced a lot of turnovers. They get in the press. There's not a lot of teams that can really handle the press and effectively, convert on the offensive end even after breaking it. So, yeah, Jackson plays great defense. And as of recording here, peek behind the curtain, it's Sunday. Jackson will be playing Tuesday, right, against Jorge Zoo in the championship. Second time these teams have played.
5:30 start.
So stupid.
So probably not making your way up to Lindbergh unless you're family of the players. But 5:30 at Lindbergh, Jackson will play championship of districts.
Yeah, so thank you, Misha, once again. Cody and I are about to talk about the other games we Herb and I had for Jackson that we were leaving at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to get to. But with that, we'll talk about the boys here of what happened this past week, the games that are already finalized, not talking about the future yet. In Class 4, District 1, it was an interesting district. Notre Dame went in as the 1 seed, and it was a district where Notre Dame, I thought, was definitely the best team, in my opinion, Cody. I don't know what you felt, but no team, if you look at the records, there was not a big separation between anybody. There was a lot of teams that were, hovering right around 500 in that district.
Yeah, you felt like 1 through 4, any of those could come out of this district and win it.
And, Notre Dame had a tough test in the first round. They played Fredericktown. It was at Fredericktown. And so that was a little bit of a hill to climb, just playing at Fredericktown. They have one very, very good freshman at Fredericktown. Last name Reitzel. I heard he's related to grandson of a former coach here in Cape. So great player. He's going to be a stud in the future. But Notre Dame did escape against Fredericktown by single digits, 54-47. And also on the other side of the bracket, Dexter beat Kennett. So a lot of SEMO conference flavor in this Class 4 District 1. And then once again, Notre Dame had just played Dexter just a few days beforehand. It was kind of similar to Jackson and Notre Dame. And, based on the last game, I thought Notre Dame would probably be able to maybe not cruise by as much, but definitely kind of win this one with ease.
Yeah, Notre Dame beat Dexter by 24 at home back at the end of February. So you thought, 2 weeks later, not a lot of change, but a different Dexter team, a lot lower scoring game. Yeah,
and it was just, like you said, very low scoring, kind of a staple of Chad Allen, especially in big games. He's good coach, and he knows his team isn't going to beat you scoring 60, 70 points. He did what he had to do. Took the air out of the ball a little bit, and they won 37-35 over Notre Dame. Finishing the year for Notre Dame 14-14. Something Cody and I had mentioned before, a lot of guys are going to be moving on to graduation for this Notre Dame team. It'll be a completely different looking team next year. A lot of guys graduating off this team.
Yeah, you're losing, 10 seniors, I believe they had, but Colton Johnson, Brett Dohan being the 2 main ones.
Yeah, and they head down. I saw, I think Rusty Hendricks tweeted out that Colton Johnson graduates 4th all-time in scoring at Notre Dame. He had over 1,300 points, and first, he broke the 3-point record last season as a junior. He broke the record for threes in a game earlier this year against Malden. He had 10, so fantastic player, long career, starting on varsity, getting varsity minutes. And then, like you said, Brett Dohan, he finishes 8th all-time in scoring, so they finished with 2 kids in the top 10, top 8 all-time in scoring at Notre Dame. He'll finish with 1,100. The other fun stat there is just ahead of him at number 7 all-time is his brother Dawson Dohan, and just behind him at number 9 is his dad, Danny Dohan. So pretty cool, but this is kind of tough. They do close out the season maybe a little bit earlier than they thought. Going into it, I thought they had a chance maybe to win that district, and then even I thought it was very plausible they could beat Potosi even once they get out of districts, but not to be the case. And like you said, they're graduating 10 guys. Will Henry Stewart, Hayden Steinley, Trenton Schumacher, Logan Londaway, Brody Harden, all guys that have played a lot. Hunter Bonham, Ryan Boswell, Zach Eftinct. A lot of guys, a lot of seniors, but a lot of guys that have played a lot of minutes on this varsity team. And yeah, they go out their career 14-14, just short of a district title, but a lot of wins, a lot of good moments for those guys. They played in a lot of fun games. And yeah, it's been a lot of good times watching them over the last few years. So there'll be a lot of new faces to get used to next season for Notre Dame. I'm sure we'll be able to talk about that more in the postseason.
Yeah, they very good players coming back. It's hard to say that when you lose 10 seniors, but their JV here went 23-2 this year, so very good JV team. You'll have some players coming back.
Yeah, very good young group there. So we'll move up to Class 5 over in District 1. That district, you've got Farmington as a 1 seed, Sikeston was a 2, Cape is a 3. Some other familiar faces that have come down and teams have gone up to play: Hillsboro, Festus, DeSoto. So a lot of teams that you see a lot here in Southeast Missouri. In that first round, Cape got out of the first round against Festus. It was not easy. It was a very low-scoring game, something we're kind of accustomed to at this point with Cape Central. Since the loss of, even before, but since the loss of Tyshandre Edwards, it's been a lot of we've got to really dig our heels in defensively. Even before that, like their defense has been clicking on a great level, but then losing that 15 to 20 points with Edwards kind of makes things a little bit difficult. But they were able to skate by there in the first round.
Yep, and we know that you lose Edwards, that's going to affect any team's offense, but they're still an above-average defensive team. They still hold Festus to 39 points. Yeah, and, like you said, escape with the victory. Yeah,
escape there. Pretty much everybody else took care of business. I think all the higher seeds won. Farmington won pretty big. Sikeston scored 113 points in the first round. If you are on the tracks right now in front of Sikeston, get out of the way. They've been killing people the last month. Everybody they've played, they've been blowing out. They've won every game by double digits since January. So they are a problem right now.
Tough to score 113 in a running clock game, but Sikeston does it over North County in the first round.
Insane. And then, so that was who Cape Central played in the semifinals. I believe the third time those teams have faced off. The first was in the SEMO conference tournament, and that went Sikeston's way in a big way. Sikeston just started turning Cape over. Felt like 20 consecutive possessions there in the second half, blew them out like 40. And then the regular season, Cape kept it close for 3 quarters, but I believe they only scored 2 points in the entire fourth quarter, and Sikeston was able to win that one by double digits. They're at Sikeston. And then in the semifinals, like I said, Sikeston is playing on a completely different level than it feels like anybody else in Southeast Missouri right now. They won 84-37 over Cape Central. Once again, the offense just not really there for Cape. It's no Tyshandre Edwards, but 84-37. I don't know who you had. You could have put anybody on Cape Central. That and Sikeston would probably come out with a victory. Sikeston moves on. They'll be playing Farmington in the championship. They beat Hillsboro 62-49 in the semis, so a rematch of a great game up there to be at Farmington again. So that'll definitely be something to keep an eye on, something I'll be watching. But Cape, Cody, a good year. First year under a new head coach, Lamont Frazier, Charleston high school legend, Mizzou great player. So a new head coaching regime. Finished 18-8. A pretty solid year. I wish you could go back and reverse Tyshandre Edwards getting injured. I'd be really curious to see kind of where this team ends up.
Yeah, see how they shake out. I mean, you're basically 18-5 against everybody else but Sikeston. Yeah. Pretty good season for Cape. They, competed well. But, yeah, Edwards will come back next year, but would have been nice to see him with Mateo, Rivers, and
yeah, because him and Rivers and Mills, so the starting backcourt for Cape is going to be graduating. That will be a big loss. Those are very good guards. Mills is a very good scorer from all 3 levels, great athlete. Mateo Rivers, fantastic perimeter defender, very quick with the ball in his hands. So yeah, it'll be a lot to replace. They're losing 6 seniors in total, and so a lot of turnover there. Cape Central will see. Like you said, Tyshandre Edwards should be back. They'll have Goliath Morris Young. Antonio Sims, I know, started, and he will be back next year as well. So it'll be a different looking group for sure. But I'm curious to see, even if some of the young guys that we haven't seen yet, see who steps up next year for them.
Yeah, not a lot of guard play coming back. A lot of your big men are coming back though. Edwards, Morris Young, as you said, Spain is coming back. So yeah, they'll still be good.
Yeah, losing a lot, but yeah, they should be good. And I liked Coach Frazier first year. Like I said, it stinks. Like right there in the middle of the season, they were playing their best basketball. Before Edwards went down, they were beating teams. Like, they're beating some good teams. And, Cody and I did the Jackson game. They played a very good game against Jackson, well-executed game plan, great defense. The defense was insane their first stretch. Like I said, they held Dexter and Notre Dame in the 30s, held Jackson to 42, held Hillsborough to 40, Poplar Bluff to 35. So they're beating conference teams. They beat Jackson. They went to Scott City, won a close game. And then they beat Jeff City on a Saturday, and I was impressed because Jeff City was a ranked team in Class 5, and they were coming off a Final Four run. Beat them, held them to 34 points, and then at CBC was Cape's next game, and that's where Edwards gets hurt, and they finish out the year without him, I believe, 500. They played tough teams down the stretch. They played, at CBC, they played Principia, Sykeston a couple times, so it was a tough stretch, but it was just kind of too bad. But a good season, good first year for Coach Frazier, and so it'll be a lot to look forward to next year. Kind of a new look SEMO conference. A lot of guys going to be moving on. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to see, as we talk about every year, 4 or 5 seniors graduating off all these teams. You don't know what to expect. We'll kind of see, in the fall, who all comes out, and multi-sport athletes, but be interesting next year.
Yeah, and then the games that we had, Cody and I do Jackson games for the uninitiated. We, up at Class 6, District 1, Jackson was the 3 seed behind Seckman, who the Indians lost to just a couple weeks beforehand. And then the 1 seed was Lindbergh, who had beaten Seckman. So it was just kind of Jackson had only played Seckman in the entire district going into it. So there was not a lot of clarity as who should be kind of what seeded where. You got a team in Cardinal Ritter who had been to 5 straight Final Fours and won 4 state titles in different classes. But last year they won in Class 6. They were the 4 seed. SLU was going to be the host. They were the 5 seed. So it was an interesting district, I thought, going into it. A decent amount of parity.
And we kind of talked with Coach Brownsberger. He said, the bottom 2 in the district probably not going to emerge, but really 1 through 6, any of those they felt like could win the district.
Yeah, it was a good tournament. In the first round, we had Jackson playing Oakville, and Indians took care of business. It was a slow start for Jackson offensively. They played well defensively throughout. They gave up 39 points. They won 58-39. It was a slow start offensively. Turnovers were a little bit of an issue, but we had shots that we normally hit. They just weren't falling. And they did start falling in the second half. Cole Deck finished with 18. Jory Toma finished with 15 in that one. So those guys both played well. There was a lot of other guys that hit shots here and there, but those 2 led the way in double figures. And yeah, that moved Jackson, pretty commanding victory. It moved them into a semifinal for a rematch against Seckman, who had just beaten the Indians. And Seckman, they barely escaped at home. They played Melville on their home court, won 59-53. They trailed all the way up into the 4th quarter, and then they outscored them by, I believe, like 10 or 12 or so to win that ball game. So, set up an interesting semifinals. Cardinal Ritter, that I just mentioned, had won 4 state titles in the last 5 years. They lost to SLU, so that was a bit of a surprise.
Yep.
Set up a big semifinal game, and Cody, I'll let you go ahead and start talking about the semifinal game, whatever you want to say about it.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Seckman kind of struggled. Seckman kind of a similar team to Jackson. If they take care of the basketball, knock down a few 3-pointers, then either one of those teams could have made these semifinals, as we talked about. Yeah, Jackson, Seckman. Seckman kind of takes over, gets out to a double-digit lead. Kind of fast forward back and forth there, but fast forward to 3 minutes left in the game. Jackson down by 9. But this is a team that's been gritty all season. You knew they weren't going to give up. So they fight all the way back, make a few shots, get some steals, and then fast forward to, the end of the game. Jackson down by 3. The sophomore, Jory Toma, at the 3-point line, pump fakes, lets the defender fly by and knocks down the 3-pointer. Big time shot out of the sophomore to send it to overtime.
Huge moment. Lost my voice. Had no voice all of overtime after that. It was a weird game because, the first time Seckman came out very fast at Jackson. They were flying up and down the court. They were getting to the rim, hitting easy floaters at the front of the rim. And then if they felt like it would kick out for open threes, and they shot a very high percentage the first time they played Jackson, and Indians just couldn't really keep up offensively, it felt like, and just kind of struggled in different things. This was a different game, really. It was ugly. offensive game. I think you said, both teams were in the 20% from the first half shooting the ball.
Yeah, neither team made it to 30% shooting in the first half. We were 19-19, I believe, going to halftime. It just, you felt like if either team could knock down a few shots, they would jump out to that 6 to 8 point lead. Sekman able to do that there in the third quarter.
Yeah, Sekman really took over. And, I mean, a lot of it was the free throw line. Cody and I talked about before we started recording this one kid, Sam Wason, who was the second leading scorer on the team. I think he averaged 10 points a game coming into it. He finished with 18, and I think 9 of those were he had 9 from the free throw line and 9 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, 9 for 10 from 3-point line, and then he made 3 3-pointers. So,
I mean,
Jackson did a good job keeping him out of the lane, keeping him inside, keeping him outside the 3-point line. He just knocked down 3 of them.
Yeah, and we contain their best player, Sam Geatley, averages 14. He was held to 8. We had just different guys stepped up. Their starting point guard, Keegan Heidert, had 20, a lot from the free throw line as well. I think 10 of his points were from the free throw line. And so, it was just a very slow game. But, like you said, I mean, Jackson dug a hole.
Yep.
And just not able to hit a lot of shots. Things were tough. We turned it over a little bit too much, I would say. The comeback was incredible, though. Coach Toma went to an all-guard lineup, just kind of trying to speed up Sekman, and it worked. And he went to it really early. And so he had enough time to kind of chip away at that lead, and that's what they did. They did a good job. I know Coach Brownsberger talks to us about it all the time. Mm-hmm. They have a culture of never quitting. They will fight to the end of games, even in games that they did lose this season. Like the Sykesman game. There was a point where it felt like it was about to be a 40-point game, but they kept playing hard even down the stretch when the game was over. They kept playing and putting up buckets here and there, playing hard defensively, and then whenever it was attainable to come back, they did so, and they played really hard, got enough steals, crossed your fingers and hope Sekman missed enough free throws, which they did, and we hit enough shots. And like you said, that final possession was insane. Jory Toma, I don't know, about 10 seconds left, I think he inbounded and got it inbounded to him.
There was a little less than, 7 or 8.
7 or 8, yeah. He got it, and just made a great individual play there, knocking down the shot. But in overtime, it was the way I kind of put it was Sekman spent like the entire fourth quarter trying to hold the ball and run clock. But then overtime, they just flipped the switch, turned it right back on to where they were playing well there in that third quarter. And what did they? I think they came down and made a couple free throws, or came down got a layup very quickly. We missed on the opposite end. They came down, knocked down a 3-pointer, and now it's a 5-point game with 2 minutes left again. So you're just kind of in a hole. And Jackson had a shot again. They fouled, got people on the line. Sekman missed a couple free throws. Jory Toma hit another big 3, but we just ran out of time there at the very end. Lost that one. Lost it by, 58-56.
Yep.
The final score. So coming up just one play short. Tough. Cody and I, we can talk about Jackson a lot because we see every single game they play. They finished the year 21-7. A great year. That's 2 years out of the last 3 winning 20 games. Not easy to do, especially when you're in the SEMO conference. You play a lot of good, bigger schools from St. Louis. You're in Class 6. So, it's been a good run here these first 3 years under Coach Toma. I've been pretty impressed with the way the team played. And I was, this is a team that kind of surprised me, honestly, with how they played throughout the season. I didn't have this high of expectations for coming in.
No, very good. 20-win regular season. Jackson played well, probably above the expectations we talked about preseason, and then you get into the playoffs. Kind of unfortunate there, as Caleb said, that you don't play much of your district, so just kind of got knocked down to the 3 seed. And then because of that, we'll blame Misha again that Jackson has to play a 5-15 game.
So dumb. They played 2 5-15 games.
So
dumb.
Not a lot of crowd support there, just because a lot of people working hard to get off. And on the other side, probably 40, 50 students from Sekman down there making a lot of noise, So it was a tough game. Jackson had an uphill battle kind of from the start, but I thought they did play well. And the never give up attitude. But 6 seniors, tough for them. They do lose a lot.
Yeah, losing a lot. A lot of guys who played a lot of minutes. I mean, obviously, it's impossible to start with anybody but Cold Deck. I mean, he's going to graduate as one of the all-time leading scorers at Jackson. An insane individual season, 2 seasons where he essentially scored every career point in the last 2 years he's had, averaged over 20-something points a game for his career, about 25 this year, averaged 20 last season. Going to be a back-to-back all-stater in Class 6, I assume. Incredible career. He's going to go down. Like I said, he's going to go down as a guy you remember for a long, long time. So you talked about all-time good Indians, all-time great scores in the entire area. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal career. Losing Colton Toma, starting point guard. Losing 3 of your 4 kind of big man rotation for the Indians. That'll kind of be a question mark for me going into the postseason of Lee Ivey, Braden Thompson, Austin Criddle, who all started and played majority of the minutes alongside John Ernst in the post, and then Gavin Allspaw off the bench, good 2-sport athlete, going to play football in college. So a lot to replace for the Indians, but they do have a good amount of younger guys coming up and a lot of guys that got good minutes, and I assume Jory Toma is a guy who really played well down the stretch. You saw him make big shots. He had 18 in this game, led them in scoring, hit the big shot, hit maybe the second biggest shot nearly in overtime to almost have Jackson have a chance to come back and tie it again. So I assume he's going to be kind of the tip of the spear next year for the Indians, and they'll have a lot of other good players to fill in around him for sure.
Yeah, between Jory Toma, John Ernst, obviously the freshman coming back. He's got a few years left, but as you roll down through the roster, Will Thomas, Ty Forrest, Blaine Reagan, Tatum Pullman. So they do have a lot returning, but hard to replace 6 seniors.
Yeah, hard to replace 6 seniors. Hard to replace one guy that scored 25 points a game. So
for sure,
a lot to make up for the Indians, but it'll be exciting. Cody and I kind of talked about this. I would like, we're planning on talking to some people that see a lot of those programs, talk to some people, maybe coaches from, surrounding area teams, Cape, Jackson, Notre Dame, hopefully. And, kind of see what they're thinking about this upcoming, like what they have coming back and kind of what their expectations are as we get into the off season and kind of wrapping up their past seasons as well. So definitely a lot to still cover on these teams. But yeah, a lot of good seasons. It was a very rough Friday night. Cape, Jackson, and Notre Dame boys all losing on the same night. Pretty much knocked out nearly every team here, Cody, in the in our little Cape County region out of the playoffs.
Yeah, so you're going to look at the Sykeston Farmington game as kind of the big game for us on Monday night around here.
Yeah, and next week, what is there going on? Classes 1 through 3 will be at the Final Four, boys and girls. Classes 4, 5, 6 will be doing their quarterfinal games. And so there are some definitely games to watch, I would say, just in Southeast Missouri area. Over on the girls' side, just go 1 through 6. You have nobody in Class 1 left in Southeast Missouri. Delta was kind of the flagship there. They got beat by Chadwick a couple weeks ago. St. Vincent girls out of Perryville, they will be, I believe, making their first Final Four appearance as a team. They'll be taking on Tipton. That is March 14th at 10 a.m. at Mizzou Arena. So, Misha, thank you again for a stupid time to start game. Nothing like playing in the middle of the week at 10 a.m. So, Perryville, people, get up there, get to the game, go check it out. It'll be a fun game. I think, don't quote me on this, but from past experience, you can pay $15, something like that, on Misha TV and get the entire Final Four. So that'll be my plan. I'm going to try to buy the package there and watch all these local teams play up there in the Final Four. Watch some other good games. A lot of fun. So definitely check that out. Any games that you are interested in watching, you can't make it in person, it should all be on Misha TV. If you look, mishatv.com, I think. And they also have an app, mobile app, or if you have a smart TV, you can download it on your TV. That's what I do. So Class 2, St. Vincent will be taking on Tipton. I don't really know anything about Tipton. I just looked up where it was a little bit ago, up by Columbia, Jeff City region. So there's that. In Class 3, girls, Portageville, down south. Shout out Portageville. Have some family living in Portageville. Shout out Portageville. They'll be taking on Principia. It'll be an uphill battle. That's the nice way of putting it. Principia is very good. I watched them play Jackson at Jackson. They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of girls that they put up a lot of threes, and they have one girl in the middle that is very big and very good, and like 6'2" or so, multi-talented, can score from all 3 levels, can handle it. They have one big girl inside, and then a lot of girls that can shoot a lot from the perimeter. So it will be a tough matchup. But Portersville's been playing well. They really blew out Steelville the other day, and so I don't see why they could not, make it interesting. Maybe beat Principia. We'll see what happens. I think Principia beat them last year in the playoffs, so that'll be interesting.
Once again, let's make that a 2:00 Wednesday state semifinal.
2:00 Wednesday. Perfect timing. I have nothing going on. 2:00 on Wednesdays. Class 4, Saxony was in kind of the local representative. They got knocked out. But Doniphan, a little west, but Doniphan, a very, very good team, nearly knocked off Jackson. They beat Notre Dame here at Notre Dame. They will be taking on Park Hill Central, so a relatively local game. That is March 11th at 6 p.m. That'll be is that a quarterfinal game or a sectional game? Sectional game. So it'll be at Doniphan. That will be. So that's a good matchup. Those are two very good teams. Park Hill Central coming off a Final Four, a state championship run last year. They lost in the championship game. That'd be something to keep an eye on. Who's on Doniphan's side there if they do beat Park Hill Central?
Yeah, the winner is St. James and Ursuline. So
okay, St. James and Ursuline. Class 5 girls, Cape got knocked out by Farmington, so they're playing their district championship game Tuesday as well. It'll be Farmington Hillsboro. The one team here in Cape County, Jackson, taking on Corhezu at Lindbergh. Like we said, there's so many great times to host a game. Why not do it at 5:30 p.m. on a Tuesday, which is when Misha will be holding the game? Great time. Super convenient when it's 2 hours away when you get off work at like 5 p.m. So that'll be a good game. That'll be a very interesting game. All joking aside, Corhezu is good. Jackson played them earlier this year at Corhezu, and it was a crazy game. It was it wasn't really back and forth. It was Corhezu leading about 90% of it, and Jackson just made plays down the stretch. They, like we talked about the boys, they didn't give up. They stayed in what they do. They kept pressing. And Corhezu was beating the press early. They were killing the press early, but then it kind of got to them as time went by. Jackson started turning them over, getting easy looks, and then maybe the most clutch, and this is from a person who just saw Jory Toma hit a three-pointer as time expired, maybe the most clutch play I've seen all season long. Kate Deck got it with 6 seconds in the backcourt, drove to the corner on the right side, the wing on the right side, pulled up from 3, got hammered, and went to the free throw line as a freshman on the road against a good team and made all 3 free throws to tie it, send it to overtime. And Jackson won in overtime. 66-63, actually, excuse me. That was at the end of the first overtime?
Double overtime.
That was at the end of the first overtime? Maybe it was in double overtime. Jackson won in double overtime, 66-63. And I think Kate Deck also got fouled shooting a 3 at the end of the half, I believe, first half. Just keep doing that every half. Jackson will be pretty good. But it'll be a tough game. Corhezu ended Jackson's season last year. So these are two teams that are familiar with each other, have played each other quite a bit. They play each other here in Class 6, District 1. For some of the girls that carry over from volleyball, it's Team Jackson plays. It's usually very good in volleyball as well. And so, it'd be interesting. Last year, I think it was the semifinals, Corhezu beat Jackson. It'll be somehow you have a double revenge game. Both teams have a revenge game, but Corhezu's good. They have a big girl inside, last name Ortworth, I think her brother is a starting tight end in Iowa, so pretty good genetics there. She's big, tough around the basket. They have good guards. It'll be a tough game. It is not, it is not going to be a game you can just show up and win. They're going to be a tough team. And Corhezu's coming off a Final Four run last year, so I'm very excited. That is one I will be watching from home because it starts at 5:30. But it's definitely a game I will be watching cover to cover on, so it'll be a good one. And then
the winner of that plays the winner of Rolla and Marquette on Saturday. So
if Jackson wins, could be a home game. So that'd be sweet. But we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. Patience. But yeah, so is that what day of the week is that, Cody?
Would be Saturday if they win.
Okay, yeah, so Saturday, you said,
the 15th.
Rolla and Marquette. Rolla's the 1 seed in that district. Good team, over 20 wins themselves. So that will be interesting. It could be at Jackson, like I said. So if Jackson beats Corhezu, they will be hosting Saturday. That'd be awesome. I will be.
Probably a noon game or something.
It'll probably be
crazy,
noon because why do it in the evening? That's not fun at all. But a game I will go to. I'm staking it now. I will be there at home if it's there. Yeah, so that's the girls' side. So good luck. Hopefully Jackson is able to come up, knock off Jorge Zoo, and get a home game on Saturday. That'd be sweet. Move over to the boys' side. Class 1, same thing. Risco was kind of the only Southeast Missouri team. They got beat, so no teams in Class 1 making the Final Four from Southeast Missouri. In Class 2, we mentioned earlier, Puxico. Their first Final Four appearance, like I said, since 53. I have it wrote down on the bottom of the sheet here. They're playing Canton. Once again, no idea where Canton even is. But I do know Canton went to the Final Four in 2014 and 2015, so there is a little bit of pedigree there for Canton. So it will be, there's no bad teams once you get to the Final Four. So it'll be a tough ball game. I'm excited to see Puxico maybe pull off a championship run here. It'll be exciting. They have great players. Their team is very, very fun. They play incredible defense. They make a lot of threes. So it'll be a great ball game for Puxico. And then in 3, Cody, a couple teams that we've seen this year a few times now. Woodland will be playing Principia. You know, off the top, you would say Principia is probably a heavy favorite there. They're very good. We saw them early in the season.
Yeah, for sure. That's a very uphill climb. Jackson played them at the Borgia tournament back in November, but Principia beat Jackson by 17. So going to be an uphill climb for sure for Woodland.
They beat Sykeston.
Heavy underdog, yeah.
Principia, they killed Cape. They're good. They have good guard play. They have big guards. They can score from all 3 levels. You have center, Sekou Cisse, big man inside, tough. Nothing flashy, but he's just big, athletic. A kid named Henry inside, I believe. Good size, 6'6" or so. So they'll be bigger. They'll be bigger than Woodland by a good margin. But, hey, Woodland got here for a reason. They have good guard play. They can hit shots. They're going to play fast. I'm excited. I'm curious. I'll be rooting for Woodland. Do you know when? I don't have that written down here. Do you know when the Woodland game will be over at the Final Four in Class 3 on the boys' side? So Woodland's 24-6. Principia only has 1 loss all season. So
that's also Wednesday at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Set your alarm clocks. Get up. Get up with game day here. That's so dumb.
Wednesday at 10 a.m. If you lose, you play Thursday at 10 a.m.
So dumb.
If you win, you play at 4 o'clock on Thursday. So Wednesday and Thursday, for sure, Woodland will be playing.
Could you flip over to Class 2 also and tell me when Puxico plays?
Puxico gets a 6 p.m. game.
There you go. Everybody's going to be wide awake for that one, so that's good.
On the 12th, so they will play 12th and 13th also. So Wednesday and Thursday for both those teams.
Okay, so there we go. I'm done complaining for now. In Class 4, I mentioned District 1, Notre Dame got knocked out, lost to Dexter. And so Dexter will be playing Potosi. The only funny note about Potosi, they're 22-4, so very good record. They hosted Puxico, beat Puxico by single digits not too long ago. Potosi has 4 losses. All 4 losses are to Farmington. They have played Farmington 4 times and lost all 4 times. So Potosi surely hates Farmington a lot, but then they're a good team. They've only lost to 1 team, and that team is very, very good. We've seen them play a few times. So that'll be an interesting battle for sure. Dexter, chance to win their 2nd district title in 15 years. Been a little bit of a stretch for Dexter. They been to 1 Final Four in 2004 was the last time they had been there. So it's been a while. So, potentially a big moment here for the Bearcats.
Yeah, and it's a home game, Monday night home game, 6 p.m. So at Dexter.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, pretty long trip for Potosi. So definitely works in their favor. And then kind of the big one that a lot of people are very excited about. Farmington will be hosting Sykeston in the Class 5 District 1 championship game Monday. And it's exciting. Farmington's only has 2 losses on the season. Sykeston has 3 losses. One of those losses is to Farmington, up at Farmington earlier in the year. And yeah, it's going to be a battle. I know that Farmington did literally beat them, but with the way Sykeston's playing right now, Cody, I don't know how they lose, even on the road.
Yeah, I would probably give the edge to Sikeston. I know, you said Farmington won by 7 at third place earlier in the season. That was January 14th. Farmington, one of their losses was at Jackson in a tough game. Jackson won that game by 6. But, as you mentioned, Sikeston has been a handful lately. They are healthy as far as I know, so I would probably give the edge to Sikeston.
Yeah, heck of a run. Since their last loss, they lost to Borgia the 1st of February. And they have not lost since then. And like I said, I think their closest game was the Tolton game by 12. Yeah, so they've been destroying people. So that's still district play, like we said. So that's a district title game. They'll be taking on the winner of Webster Groves or Vianney. Webster Groves, Cody and I, we saw them, and Webster Groves, very, very talented, a couple of very talented young players. The game will be at Vianney, between Webster Groves and Vianney, so we'll see how that goes. I know probably a lot of Sikeston fans would like to get Vianney to come down to their place after having to go to Vianney last year and try to whoop them, but it'll be interesting. Vianney, I would say less talented than Webster Groves, but they do have Luke Walsh. Love him or hate him, he averages like 35 points a game, so he is a bucket himself, so he'll be a problem.
So both those games Monday night at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And then the winners will play on the 14th. I think that's Friday night.
Okay, so probably an evening game Friday night then. Yep.
Friday evening game, and should be at the. Well, if Sikeston wins, I guess they would host it. Out of District 1.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's right.
Could be a home game there.
Yeah.
They could get revenge.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Yeah. So Sikeston could be if it's them versus Webster Groves, that will be one of the best games in the entire state. Period. That'll be a crazy, super talented. Both teams will be incredible to watch. And then that wraps it up because Class 6, nobody from around here. Jackson was the lone representative up there in Class 6. Got knocked out to Seckman. Seckman's playing SLU at SLU. Winner plays probably Marquette. So that will just about wrap up basketball season, Cody. We're here on the last legs.
Yeah, exciting times for classes 1, 2, and 3. Final 4 this week. Exciting memories. Should be some great games. Nice to see Puxco and Woodland be able to root each other on out there. I'm sure they'll be going to each other's games, and nice crowds.
A lot of representation from Southeast Missouri this year in the smaller classification, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then you got the district championships and quarterfinals for 5 and 6. Should be entertaining. Yeah,
definitely some opportunities for more teams to get there. You have any other thoughts? Anything else you need to talk about? I was just going to say, not high school related, but here we go. SEMO hat on here. Well, first I'll say another former Southeast Missouri area product, Jadis Jones, won OVC Freshman of the Year up at Lindenwood. That's pretty cool. He had a great season. He's a guy who tormented everybody in Southeast Missouri for 4 years, a crazy good player, won a couple state titles, won a couple player of the years in high school. Yeah, already Freshman of the Year. He was also, I think, second team all OVC. So a great first start for him. I got SEMO, who won the regular season in the OVC. Coach Korn, Coach of the Year. A couple guys, Rob Martin, Teddy Washington on first team, Brendan Terry on second team. But unfortunately, we just saw yesterday Sunday night, but yesterday we saw SEMO lose to SIUE, so their season's done. One game short of the NCAA tournament, unfortunately, but that's how it goes in a lot of the low major schools. You got to win your conference tournament. If not, season comes to an end. But you can't be don't hold your head low if you're SEMO. Good season for them. They had a very good year. Great close to the season. They played really, really well.
Yeah, you never know kind of in this day in college basketball who all's coming back. But, Edwardsville, congratulations to them. The first team in the March Madness field this year.
Yeah, that's right. First one to clinch. So, well, that'll just about do it for me. We're, like we keep saying, almost done with basketball. I guess we got, a couple weeks until baseball now is coming up. I was looking at Jackson's schedule, and they play the 22nd. Be their first game. So, we're almost there. We're almost into spring sports now, Cody.
Hey, it's getting into the 60s. I like it.
Yeah, I like the spring weather.
Should be a nice close to the season.
Yeah, so it'll be exciting. A lot of good games still to play. So like I said, if you want to watch any of these games, go to Misha TV. You should be able to find it there. A little got to scroll around, kind of a little bit difficult to navigate at times. They have an app as well for smart TV and stuff like that. So, go check them out. Go watch some of these good games. If you can, go to the games. There'll be a lot of good basketball here to watch. So, for Cody and myself, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. It's been a fun season. We're nearly done with it here, but it's been a lot of fun. Thank you all for enjoying the ride with us. We appreciate all of you, and we'll see you on the next one.